Good morning, good afternoon, internet friends. It's my last full day here in Barcelona, and technically it's kind of a half day because it's already 4:30 in the afternoon. I was up until like 6:30 a.m. with yesterday's edit, and if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out because it was one of the most fun videos that I've made in a long time. Now the plan for today is to just wander about a little bit more while I have some time. There's like an 80% chance of rain, so hopefully it stays dry. But while we wander about, we have some very exciting Pokémon GO news to discuss. First stop, legendary skate spot, NOWහැ, here in Barcelona. Like I said, one of the best cities in the world for skating. Obviously I didn't bring a skateboard, my bad. But I'm gonna at least collect the gym badge here. It's full up, I can't put any Pokemon in, but that'll do. There's a free raid pass for the day. But let's get to the serious stuff. It's about this guy. Last night, just before 6 p.m. Pacific time, the first EX raid invitations started going out. And interestingly, they're still being called exclusive raid invitations. But there are 3 known EX raids at the moment. One in Seattle, near Niantic's Seattle headquarters, at the same gym where the first Moltres raid happened. One in San Francisco, near Niantic's San Francisco headquarters, at Cupid's Span, a gym that they use in a lot of press shots that I've been to here on the channel. And a third in Japan, in Yoyogi Park, which I'm assuming is probably near Niantic's Japan headquarters. A Redditor named Broseph23 posted this image of what it looks like to receive the exclusive raid invitation. So it has a date, a time. We're seeing here September 7th, that's tomorrow, between 6 and 8 p.m. So these EX raids or exclusive raids are going to last for 2 hours, just like a normal raid, but you're finding out about them, in this case, 2 days ahead of time. Now before we go any further, keep in mind that Niantic has said that all of this is just a beta test. They're going to continue tweaking things and changing the requirements, listening to our feedback, so if you don't like the way they're doing things, make sure you let them know on Twitter, on Facebook. You can even comment down below, and they'll continue to sort of hammer out the system and make sure that it works for as many players as possible. Below the time and date, we see the name of the gym, the location, and a link to get directions, which will take you to Google Maps, so it'll actually tell you how to get to the gym in case you don't remember where that actual gym is. You have an image of the EX Raid Pass, as we've seen from previous APK mines, and at the very bottom it says this is a reward for a previous victory at Precious Water. That's the name of the gym. Please visit the gym at the given time to join the exclusive raid battle. Broseph23 stuck around in the comments to answer some questions, and here is the information that he shared about his EX raid invitation. He's level 29, just shy of level 30, so at the moment it doesn't seem like the level requirement is too high. He says that yesterday was the last and the only time that he actually did a raid at this particular gym. And from what I've heard online, it doesn't seem like anyone is getting an invitation if they haven't participated in a raid at the gym within the last 24 to 48 hours. But remember, this is just the first beta test. I don't think it's going to stay that way. Eventually, that time window is going to get lengthened to a point of maybe days or even weeks, hopefully. But I think for this initial test, Niantic decided to invite players who participated in raid battles there very recently so that they have a higher chance of inviting people who are actually still around, because if they decided to invite people who maybe did a raid there 2 weeks ago, they might not be in the area anymore. So again, remember, this is just the first wave, the first beta test. of the EX raid system. He says that this raid pass, the invitation, just popped up during normal gameplay, a regular pop-up window notification, and he says that he's done 40 raids, about 20 of which might be legendary, though if he's done 40 and legendary aren't counting towards the raid medal, then I'm not sure exactly how he came to that conclusion. But right now, it doesn't seem like there's any strict requirements, because a lot of people have shared their information about the passes that they received, the invitations that they received, and there are some players under level 30 like we see here, players who haven't done a ton of raids, players whose only raid at the EX raid gym was a level 1 raid, a Magikarp. So right now it seems like the only people who are invited are people who participated in raids very recently at these 3 specific beta test gyms. So sorry, I know I probably could have done this at a quieter location, but NOWÖ, man, as a skateboarder, it's just someplace you've always seen in videos, and even though I don't have a board, just wanted to spend a little bit of time there. Whoa. I just stumbled onto an Entei raid with nine people in. I might have walked past it. Is it gonna let me in? Oh, sweet. Alright, let's do this real quick. Let me find a spot. Now, while I raid, I'm gonna try, you guys know I'm not very good at this, but I'm gonna try to talk and battle at the same time. So, Mewtwo's base capture rate has been updated in the game master file, and it's 6%, which is actually massive compared to all the legendary Pokemon we've seen before. The legendary birds have a 3% base catch rate. The legendary beasts like Entei here and Lugia have a 2% base catch rate. So what that means is it's actually going to be essentially 3 times easier to catch Mewtwo than it is to catch any of these beasts right now. And the reason for that, I think, is because Niantic is going to make these EX raids very rare and very exclusive. So it's going to be difficult to get an invite, but once you get there and you beat Mewtwo, you should have a pretty good chance of catching it. So PokemonGoHub.net, again, has a great chart that shows you the actual, real, practical percent chance of catching Mewtwo based on the type of ball you use, the throw. I guess you can only use one type of ball, but throw bonus, berry, all that. So with a curveball, golden raspberry, and excellent throw, you have a 45% chance of catching Mewtwo on that ball, which is amazing. So chances are, let me just get him out real quick. Before the battle ends, can I do it? I guess not. So if you can consistently throw at least a great throw with a curveball, you can get credit for it, and a golden raspberry, if you have 7-8 balls, you should have a pretty good chance of actually catching Mewtwo after defeating it in a raid. There's 10 balls for Entei, which is far more difficult. That was definitely bottom right, red zone. But it's worth a catch. Curveball credit? This will probably be my last stop for the day. This is the Gothic Quarter, the oldest area of Barcelona, the center of old Barcelona, when the Romans founded it way back in, I don't know, thousands of years ago. And right behind me is actually a piece of the old wall that surrounded the city that dates back to like the 4th century AD. So as I stand here in front of this old stuff, we'll talk a little bit more about Pokemon GO's new stuff. Quickly, I'm just going to go over some Mewtwo counters. Remember, these are beta tests. The first 3 EX raids that we're seeing, so we might not actually see Mewtwo raids start opening up. And you know what? Before we do that, let me just also say, we don't know for sure if these first 3 EX raids are even going to be Mewtwo raids. There's a chance that they use some other Pokemon for the tests, but the fact that they added Mewtwo's base capture rate makes me think, yes, it is probably Mewtwo. So just in case, we'll talk counters really quickly, and then I'll go over this again with like a separate dedicated video when these EX raids start opening up to more players. So against Mewtwo, your counters are going to depend on its charge move. Mewtwo's quick moves are both Psychic type, but its charge moves can be Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, Psychic, or Hyper Beam. Against Mewtwo, your best counter is typically Tyranitar with Bite and either Crunch or Stone Edge, but if that Mewtwo has Focus Blast, Tyranitar is going to get absolutely destroyed. One shot. So don't use Tyranitar if it doesn't get suggested to you when you first enter the raid, because those suggestions are based on the raid boss's moves, and if the Mewtwo has Focus Blast, you most likely won't see your Tyranitar as a suggested Pokemon. The next best Dark type that you can use is Houndoom with Snarl and Foul Play, and like Tyranitar, that's going to be good against everything except Focus Blast, because it is, as a Dark type, going to resist 2 of Mewtwo's other charge moves. You can essentially divide Mewtwo's counters up into 2 groups: counters for Mewtwo with Focus Blast, and counters for Mewtwo without Focus Blast. Against Mewtwo without Focus Blast, again, you want to use those Dark types, Houndoom, Tyranitar, and then against Mewtwo with Focus Blast, you can use a lot of other counters such as Gengar, but watch out for Psychic type moves. You can use Gyarados with Dragon Tail, Bite, Hydro Pump, Crunch. You can also use Bug types. The best are going to be Scissor with double Bug type moveset, Pinsir with double Bug type moveset, and then just general high DPS Pokemon like Dragonite with any of its Dragon type moves. So again, if the Mewtwo has Focus Blast, don't use your Dark types. If the Mewtwo doesn't have Focus Blast, use your Dark types. And as long as the Mewtwo doesn't have Shadow Ball, you can use your Mewtwo. Now, the rain's letting up a little, but I really have to pee. So, let's get moving. Alright, y'all, that's gonna be it for this episode. Remember, this is beta tests, the first ever EX raids in Pokemon Go. So, tomorrow, I'm traveling. I have a flight in the early afternoon. I'm heading home. It's like a 12-hour flight back to LA. So there might not be an upload at the regular time, but when I get home to LA, I'm gonna have something special for you guys. So stay tuned. It'll come late in the night, probably Pacific time tomorrow, but there will be an upload eventually. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Honestly, thank you all so much for supporting the channel and making this last month of travel possible for me. I never imagined when the channel started that it would actually come to this point, but it's incredible, and I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you tomorrow.